let's talk about these 25 quarter century secret rares and we're expecting their value to be. Gamer's Choice pre-sales are up. Now remember, you can use discount code MCO40 to get the chance to save. Some of the deck cores have already been moving, and these quarter century secret rares have been flipping through relatively fast. $80 for SP Little Knight. Oof, and they're already cratered off the face of the planet. Doomsday Stars at 20s, and of course all the other little value to be had down here as well. And once again, use discount code MCO40 and save on your purchase. Hey guys, smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. We're going to start off with the SP Little Knight, and this card is fantastic. They sold out at $200 within the first couple of minutes, and I think a lot of people are projecting this to be the most expensive quarter century secret rare in the set because SP Little Knight, it's a gorgeous card. All right, it sets up all the waifu tax, all the crazy things that you want to see in a modern era card, and it's not going to stop. No way. Then we have the Doomsday Star. This is projected to be your second most expensive quarter century. Oh wait, the Abel Star exists. Currently, these are floating around the $150 range. I do think that we might see these go down. It depends on how much of a staple we're going to see this card actually take to, you know, the meta. Now, if this ends up being something that every deck is going to play, you will see the price of it break through. But the lower rarity is widely available as an ultra rare, so that's a good thing. And then, of course, we have Manadium Triscuda out here. Low price is coming in at the $60 range. This is actually interesting because Manadium kind of floating in here, getting the chance to get this at a fairly affordable range, and it's usually a one-of in the builds, which means I don't have to dedicate a lot of crazy money to this. And it usually comes down to how many versions of X card do I need to acquire for my deck build, and I think that's something to consider as well. And then, of course, we have the Abel Star, the Black Witch. You know, waifu tax tells me that this might actually be right behind SP Little Knight in the set. Good news is you only need, a lot of the builds are only calling for one of these. So that's something to consider at the end of all of this as well, is, you know, how many of these do I need to acquire and how much is it going to impact said wallet for the particulars of this. Interesting. And then we have Vanquishal Jiao Long. Now, the original version of this is an Ultra, which isn't going to be too much, but you're coming in at a quarter century secret rare for a card that you play 2 of this or 3 of this. It depends on the build, I guess, on how many of these you want to dedicate, but seeing a $70 price point on the very early end of this, these might drop down to the $50, $60 range. It just depends how many people want to pick this card up for the higher rarity. That's always going to be the question. We have the Infernal Flame Banshee. Now, this is a very interesting one. Coming in at $40 on pre-sale. This is the one that lets you detach and take a Pyro Monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. And it basically has a revival effect, which is actually kind of nice. But this is going to be one of the cheaper quarter centuries of the set by about a mile. If you're expecting this card to be insane in price, I think you're doing it wrong, honestly. And then we have the Testina, the divinity that defies darkness. This is our big Exceed monster. I want to play this in Eldritch, to be honest with you. I think the new stuff is incredibly cool, but the fact that you have to have the Testina underneath this, the Crystal God, in order to get the maximum value. Right now, pre-sales are $40. Reminds me of what we were seeing for the original Testina cards for much of their life floating around, but most builds are only going to play 1 to 2 of this. So once again, you know, you're paywall behind that availability. And then we have Tainted of the Testina. This card looks fantastic. If there's a quarter century that I actually wanted to own, it's this card because this is going to look fantastic. The blue is going to look gorgeous on this. The color scheme just looks amazing, and you know what? You'll never have to deal with a, a Ghost Trick Duelist ever again. This is probably going to go down. Early pre-sale price is floating about the $40 range. I know there's always going to be some sort of quarter century that people aren't going to like, and this checks the marks for that. Then we have the King's Sarcophagus. $80 is what we're seeing on pre-sale. The good news is this, unless you're playing the pure build, This isn't going to be a crazy 3 of. All right, you're not going to have to sit through here and deal with all of the crazy insanity of needing multiples of these. And most builds dedicating 1 to 2 of for more splashable. Obviously, pure is that. For an $80 price point on the very early end of things, that can seem like a lot, but we'll have to wait and see. That one I'm questionable of. And then we have the original Sinful Spoils, the Snake Eye. This is the thing that makes your level 1s go around for the fire monsters. Considering that most builds play this as a 1 of, and seeing an $80 price point, I think this card's going to fall pretty strongly. The big things are, waifu tax and checking the marks for splashable engines. And this does check the mark for splashable engine, but it's paywalled behind a lot of other crazy stuff. This is just one of those, if I pull it, it'd look nice. And then we have the Divine Temple of the Snake Eye. This is the one that lets you place a Snake Eye monster from your hand deck or face or graveyard face up in the spell and trap card zone. And then level 1 fire monsters will get 1100 attack points. And then you can target a monster on the field treated as a continuous spell and special summon it when your opponent normal or specials. This is okay. We're seeing pre-sale prices at the $40 range. I'm not a really big fan of that, honestly. That feels a lot more than it really should be. And then, of course, we have Wanted, Seeker of the Sinful Spoils, your Rhoda for this archetype. This card is crazy in terms of value. I don't know what they were thinking putting this in this slot. Man, between a Seeker Rare and this, you already know that you're going to be spending out the butt for this. Thank you, waifu tax. I love to see it. But $130 for this? I know people don't want to spend that price point, but that's what you get for a high rarity searcher. Then we have the TG Limiter Removal. This is your discard 1, search for 2 TGs, and then it also lets you recycle / add back if you have a machine TG. $40 is okay. That's all it is. It's very strictly just okay. You're not going to be going too crazy for this. I understand why they made this so cheap, but it's also just a TG card. You know, it's not going to do anything too crazy. And then, of course, we have the full armored Dark Knight Lancer, also at a $40 price point. Man, I am loving these cheap cards that we have coming in this set. You know, full armored Dark Knight Lancer is going to be a 1 of at most. You're not going to be going too crazy for this. If you're looking at this right now and you're like, I don't know, it'll probably go down then. But once again, $40 is not going to break the bank for this guy. All right, that's actually probably some of the best value you can get. And then we have the TG Glaive Blaster at $40 too. Now this, I think, will go down as well. You know, the other TG stuff is a 3 of, minus, the things in the extract. And you're telling me you want $40 for Glaive Blaster to start things off. No, I don't think I will spend that amount of money on this. It just doesn't make sense for me to want to spend a little bit more absurd money on this. No thanks. And then we have, once again, Dragonar here. It's another 1 of down here in the extra. You might try to play 2 of this in case, your opponent tries to pre-shoot it or, blow it up or something along the way. But I don't think that that's going to be the heavy cost for you here. All right. Once again, you're checking the marks for the 1 ofs, and $40 for the 1 ofs. There's too many bad quarter centuries in this set, honestly. And then we have Odd Eyes Archray Dragon. $50 on this guy for pre-sale, which is hilarious, by the way. If this card hits like a $30, $20 price range, this would be one of the ones that I personally think I would consider picking up, because I think the card actually looks really, really cool, but no more than that. We also have the Darkhold Dragon. This also checks the box of really cool quarter century, but for a $50 price point, I don't think I want to pay that. All right, I don't want to take the risk for something that simply just looks cool. It's got to have some sort of playability or I'm out, Then we have Arius at $100. The high rarity Labyrinth players are going to be crashing through that door for the chance to want to pick this card up. This card looks amazing. The way that the colors blend together with the quarter century, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's probably going to be one of the best looking quarter centuries out there. Then we have the Blessing of Horus at $40. $40 for this I can get behind. It is a one-of. Once again, you're paying for that availability for the deck, but you don't have to spend and break a leg for this, which I think is good. All right, I'm really loving what they're doing with these. And then, of course, we have Imseti out here coming in at $100. Between the Sarcophagus Imseti and the Blessing, that's an expensive price point that you're going to have to really get behind here and see. But that's a 3 of. Then we have the Flamberge Dragon coming in at $40. Honestly, I don't think it's worth it. There are a lot of cards in this set that just don't feel like they meet the requirements of being worth the price. I'm seeing some really bad cases that you can get in this set, but I think the secret rares hold this set up. And then we have the Visa Samsara, $80 for this. The Manadeum players, I actually wonder what their limits are going to be for this, because this does feel a little bit more expensive in comparison to a lot of the other cards available in this set. I think this one's going to fall pretty easily in terms of long-term value. And then, of course, the Rocket Salamander at $50. Come on, quarter centuries. What are you doing? Good news is, I mean, you can bling out your decks. Looking at some of these very early pre-sale prices, that's kind of nice, actually. You know, it's all about availability and having things, you know, that will look relatively nice. And then, of course, the Magician of Bonds and Unity coming at $150 pre-sale. We've already seen how the first version of this crashed down. I know a lot of people aren't going to be too happy to see that, but I mean, once again, if this version hits $100, that's just going to make collecting these all the easier. So those are all of our quarter centuries for this set. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back at the end of the day, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.